Well, howdy there, Internet people. It's Bo again. So, today we are going to talk a little bit more about the situation the Speaker of the House finds himself in. We're going to talk about Johnson and how he is trying to deal with his newfound support from the Democratic Party. It wasn't too long ago that we talked about this and we ran through the various options that the Democratic Party had. By the end of it, I think most people understood that even though it seems counterintuitive, that protecting Johnson actually gave the Democratic Party an edge. And it was likely to create a situation where Johnson had to defend himself against claims of him being a rhino or cutting some kind of deal with the Democratic Party, so on and so forth. So, Marjorie Taylor Greene is, continuing to say she's going to move forward with a motion to vacate. Johnson, who seemed pretty secure in his position not too long ago, is now at the point where he is saying stuff like, the motion to vacate does not offer a recipe for conservative policy. It's a recipe for chaos. Which, that in and of itself, not a big deal. But he's also had to say, I'm the most conservative member who has ever held the gavel as Speaker. He's having to defend himself now. He is now in a position where he's being viewed as somebody who cut a deal. In fact, it certainly appears that the space laser lady herself is kind of pushing out the idea that he engaged in some slimy backroom deal with the Democrats. And maybe even there's rumors that suggest there's a shared speakership with the Democratic Party. Now, these are all within the Twitter faction and MAGA faction. To be clear, there is absolutely no evidence that any of that occurred. But it's the modern Republican Party. It's not like evidence is going to really be needed for these claims to be believed. So Johnson, who was on relatively firm footing, is now having to defend his conservative record. It does appear that the Democratic Party offering to help in the way that they did might have been more of a liability than assistance. Now, there is one other very interesting development, something that I find incredibly interesting. Greene is saying that she's not going against Trump's wishes by doing this, which is weird because, they went down there and, Johnson and Trump, and they met and sang, songs together and did that little press conference. But she's not going against his wishes. That's weird unless you remember what McConnell said. And he said that Johnson, I believe the word he used was neutralized Trump on the Ukraine aid package. That somehow Johnson had gotten the better of Trump. And we know that Trump is a very forgiving person, right? You might be forgiven for believing that Trump was using Greene as a surrogate to get rid of Johnson. The thing is, if Trump fails, he looks even weaker to Republicans up on the Hill. That's quite the move. It has to succeed, or he is going to lose some political capital. And since the Democratic Party is being oh so accommodating in protecting Johnson, it seems pretty likely that Johnson will hold on to his seat as long as they, make good on their pledge of support. There were a lot of people questioning the wisdom of that. it hasn't been that long, and it's already starting to pay off. This will deepen the divides within the Republican Party between what's viewed as mainstream or moderate Republicans and the MAGA faction, Twitter faction. This is especially true if what Green is saying is accurate. If Trump is okay or maybe even pushing for this move, the divisions that are going to be very apparent here soon, that can only help the Democratic Party come election time. It does appear that in pursuit of a more conservative, framework for the Republican Party, that Green got outplayed by the Democratic Party, and now she's doing all of the work for them. Anyway, it's just a thought. Y'all have a good day.